Every great story begins at a breaking point, that quiet, painful moment when life forces you to stop pretending everything is fine. It does not happen when you feel strong. It does not happen during your victories. It happens in the dark, when something inside you quietly snaps. Maybe it was one terrible day that changed everything. Maybe it was a slow collapse that took months or even years. Maybe it was a mistake you regret, a loss you never saw coming, a heartbreak that tore you apart, or a dream that slipped through your fingers even though you held it as tightly as you could. But whatever your breaking point was, it left you standing in a place you never imagined, tired, doubtful, wounded, and carrying a weight no one else can see. This moment is where most stories end for most people. This is the moment they give up. They surrender to the pain and whisper to themselves, "Maybe this is just my life now." They shrink. They settle. They stop fighting. And every day a small piece of their spirit breaks a little more. They stop expecting better. They stop believing in themselves. They stop imagining a future different from the present they hate. And, slowly, they become a quieter version of who they once were. But not you. Because buried deep inside you, beneath the fear, beneath the disappointment, beneath the exhaustion, something still burns. A spark, a quiet flame, a stubborn refusal to end your story here. Even when everything in your life seems to be falling apart, that spark refuses to die. And that spark is more powerful than you think. That spark is the beginning of your rise. A comeback never begins with strength. It begins with truth. The simple truth that you want better and that you deserve better. It begins with the truth that your story is not defined by this painful chapter, no matter how heavy it feels or how long it has lasted. It begins with the truth that broken does not mean finished. Lost does not mean hopeless. Tired does not mean defeated. You may not know how to climb out of this place yet. You may not know the direction. You may not feel ready. You may not feel confident. You may not even believe in yourself fully. But every legendary comeback in history, every rise, every transformation, every rebirth, started with one quiet, powerful decision that changed everything. I am not done. Those 4 words are more important than motivation, more important than luck, more important than talent. They are a declaration of war against the version of life that tried to break you. They mark the exact moment you stop accepting the life you fell into and start building the life you want. This is where your greatest comeback begins, not with applause, not with confidence, and not with victory. It begins right here, in the silence after the fall. In the courage it takes to rise one more time, even when rising feels impossible. This is the moment everything changes. This is the first chapter of the new you, and your comeback starts now. Step 1. The fall. Every great comeback begins with a fall. Sometimes the fall is sudden, like a storm hitting without warning. Sometimes it is slow and silent, like water steadily dripping onto stone, wearing it down over time until it finally cracks. Life has many ways of reminding us that we are human, that we are vulnerable, and that even the strongest among us can stumble. Maybe you lost a job you thought was permanent. Maybe someone betrayed your trust and left a wound that won't easily heal. Maybe you tried your hardest to achieve a dream, only to fail when success seemed just within reach. Or maybe you woke up one morning and realized that your life had become something you never intended, something smaller, quieter, or emptier than you imagined. Each fall looks different, yet the feelings it brings are strikingly similar. A heavy chest, a mind weighed down by doubt, and a quiet fear that the best part of your life is already behind you. The fall is disorienting. It feels like the ground beneath you has disappeared. It feels like the world is moving forward without you, while you are stuck in a space of regret, confusion, and pain. You may replay mistakes in your mind, question your worth, or blame yourself for circumstances beyond your control. This is the natural response. It is the shadow that every comeback must first pass through. But here is a truth many people never truly grasp. A fall is not the end. A fall is not a verdict. A fall is not the measure of your potential. It is an invitation, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, to rise again, to rebuild, to reclaim the life that seems lost. The fall shows you where you have been weak, yes, but also where strength can grow. It highlights the areas of your life that need care, attention, and courage. And it gives you a choice, to stay down or to begin rising. Most people refuse this invitation. They linger in disappointment, let fear dictate their days, and watch their lives drift by. Comeback people, however, eventually accept it. Not immediately, not perfectly, not without hesitation or struggle, but eventually they make the choice to stand, to try, to move forward, to transform the fall into the foundation for something greater. The fall is painful, yes, but it is also necessary. It is the first step on the journey toward your comeback, and when you decide to rise, everything begins to change. Step 2, the silence. The worst part of failure is not the failure itself. Failure hurts, yes. It stings. It shakes you. But the real pain begins after the fall, when everything around you suddenly becomes quiet. There is no applause to lift your spirit, no encouraging voice telling you that you will be okay, no familiar comfort to hold on to, just silence. Heavy, sharp, unforgiving silence. This is the moment when the world moves on without you, when life continues as if nothing happened, and you are left standing alone, with the weight of your thoughts. In this silence, every doubt becomes louder, every mistake feels bigger, every fear becomes clearer. You wonder if you were ever good enough. You wonder if you should have tried harder. You wonder if maybe this failure means something permanent about who you are. Silence has a way of amplifying the things you try hardest to hide from yourself. It is uncomfortable. It is painful. It feels like a punishment. But silence is not your enemy. Silence is your mirror. Because when life becomes quiet, you are finally able to hear the voice you ignore when the world is loud. The voice inside you. The one that tells the truth. The one that knows your potential. The one that still believes in you, even when you do not believe in yourself. In silence, this voice becomes impossible to avoid. And in this stillness, you discover something important. You are not broken. You are simply beginning. Failure did not destroy you. It revealed you. It showed you what matters, what doesn't, and what must change. It stripped away the noise so you could finally hear your inner strength calling your name. Silence is where every great comeback is born. Not in excitement, not in confidence, not in motivation, but in stillness. The moment when you face yourself honestly. Your mind will try to resist. It will replay old memories. It will drag you backward toward fear and regret. Your emotions will rise and fall like waves, trying to convince you that staying down is easier. But beneath all of this, deeper than the doubt and louder than the fear, The silence carries a simple message. A message you cannot ignore. A message that arrives with clarity, with calmness, with a quiet strength that feels like a spark inside your chest. Start again. These two words are the doorway to your comeback. They are the invitation to rise, rebuild, and reclaim the life that is still waiting for you. In the silence, your next chapter begins. Step 3. The moment of decision. There is one moment in every comeback story that changes everything. It is not the moment you win. It is not the moment people praise you. It is not the moment the results finally appear. The real turning point happens long before that. In a quiet moment, when no one is watching, when life feels heavy, and you finally whisper to yourself a truth you can no longer ignore. This truth is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is simple, almost fragile, but it carries enough power to rewrite your entire life. This moment is the moment you decide. Comebacks never begin with huge actions. They rarely begin with confidence. Most of the time, they begin when you are still hurting, still confused, still unsure of what to do next. But in the middle of all that uncertainty, one small voice inside you speaks up and says, "I won't stay like this." And even though that choice feels small, it is the seed of everything that comes next. You don't need to know the path. You don't need to know the steps. You don't need to feel strong or ready or brave. You only need to say, "I'm not done." This decision is more powerful than motivation because motivation fades. It is more powerful than luck because luck is unpredictable. It is more powerful than talent because talent without intention is wasted. Talent is something you are born with. Luck is something that happens by chance. But decision is deliberate. Decision is chosen. Decision is yours. Once you decide to rise, the world cannot stop you. Obstacles may appear. Delays may frustrate you. Fear may visit you again and again. But the moment you make that choice, that single, silent, personal choice, you shift the direction of your life. You turn your face toward a future worth fighting for. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the author of your comeback. Your decision is the spark that lights the fire. Your decision is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. Your decision is the moment your story turns. In the end, only you can stop you, and only you can save you. The moment you choose to rise, your comeback officially begins. Step 4. The first small step. The first step in every comeback is never dramatic. It is never heroic. It is never the kind of moment that makes a great movie scene or inspires millions of people. In fact, most of the time, no one even notices it. The first step is small, so small that it feels almost meaningless. But this tiny, quiet action carries the power to shift your entire life. You might think a comeback starts with a big leap, a huge transformation, a sudden breakthrough, a loud declaration of change. But in reality, it begins with something simple. You getting out of bed a little earlier, even when you don't feel like it. You cleaning your room and making space for a new version of yourself. You going for a short walk just to breathe and move. You applying for one job, even if you fear rejection. You practicing your skill for 10 minutes, even if you feel rusty or slow. You choosing to say no to one habit that has been pulling you down for too long. At first, these steps look useless. They look too small to matter. You wonder how something so tiny could possibly lead you to a better life. But comeback champions know a secret that most people ignore. Small steps create momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates transformation, and transformation creates a new story. The first step is not about achieving something big. It is about proving something to yourself. It is about showing your mind that you are capable of movement, that you are not stuck, that you are not powerless. Every small action you take is a message you send to your mind. We are going forward. And slowly, with each small promise you keep, your self-respect grows. Greatness never starts with a dramatic scene. It starts with a decision followed by a tiny action, a promise you make to yourself and actually keep. These small steps, repeated again and again, become the foundation of your comeback. They build discipline. They rebuild belief. They teach your body and mind how to rise again. The world may not see the first step. People might not understand it. They might think nothing has changed. But you will feel it. The shift, the spark, the quiet strength returning to you. And when you take that first step, you open the door to something bigger than you can imagine. Your comeback does not need to start big. It only needs to start. And it starts with the smallest step you are brave enough to take today. Step 5. The enemies of comeback. Every comeback, no matter how legendary, faces 3 powerful enemies. These enemies do not live outside you. They live inside your mind, inside your memory, inside the quiet corners of your thoughts. And if you do not recognize them, they will hold you down long before the world ever tries to stop you. The first enemy is doubt. Doubt whispers softly, with the gentlest voice. What if you fail again? It reminds you of the times you tried and fell. It shows you images of rejection, disappointment, and embarrassment. Doubt pretends to protect you, but it is really trying to shrink you. But comeback people don't answer with fear. They answer with possibility. They ask back, what if I don't fail? What if this time everything changes? Doubt cannot survive when you feed your mind with belief. The second enemy is fear. Fear is louder than doubt. It screams, stay where you are, don't move, don't take risks. Fear convinces you that comfort is safety. But comeback people know a secret. Staying where you are is the real danger. Staying stuck destroys your spirit. Staying the same kills your potential. Fear is not trying to keep you safe. It is trying to keep you small. The moment you understand this, you stop running from fear and start walking through it. The third enemy is memories. Your past tries to pull you backward with chains made of old mistakes. Memories remind you of every failure, every loss, every painful moment you want to forget. They replay embarrassing scenes in your mind, making you believe you are still that same person. But you must understand this truth deeply. Your past is a story, not a prison. You can learn from it, but you do not have to live in it. Comebacks happen the moment you stop obsessing over what you lost and start focusing on what you can rebuild. Your past is a chapter, not the ending. These 3 enemies, doubt, fear, memories, will appear every time you rise. They will challenge you. They will question you. They will test you. But overcoming them is what shapes the strength needed for your comeback. You do not defeat them all at once. You defeat them one choice, one step, one belief at a time. And when these enemies lose their power, you finally begin to see your future clearly. A future built not from who you were, but from who you are becoming. Step 6. The power of pain. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the teacher. Most people spend their whole lives running from pain, hiding from it, avoiding it, pretending they are fine. But pain is the signal that something deeper is happening inside you. Pain is the beginning of transformation, not the end of it. When you hurt, you are not breaking down. You are breaking open. Pain teaches you what is fragile. It shows you the places where you trusted too easily, gave too much, or ignored warning signs. It reveals the parts of your life that cannot hold your weight anymore. Pain points to what must change, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Without pain, you would stay in the same place forever, repeating the same habits, following the same patterns, holding on to the same excuses. Pain also reveals what is truly important. When everything hurts, you see clearly what matters and what doesn't. You understand which people are real, which dreams are true, and which fears are illusions. Pain strips away the unnecessary and leaves only what is essential. In many ways, pain cleans your life. But the most powerful truth is this: pain gives you strength. People who have never been broken can be strong, yes, but people who rebuild themselves after breaking, they are unstoppable. They carry scars that remind them of their resilience. They rise with wisdom that only suffering can teach. They move with purpose because they know how it feels to lose their way. Pain carves a deeper space inside you so greater strength can fill it. Every time you survive pain, you grow. Every time you stand back up, you gain power. Every time you choose healing over hiding, you create a new version of yourself, one that is stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the life you want. Your pain is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that something powerful is being created inside you. Pain breaks you, yes, but it also rebuilds you. And the version of you that rises after pain is someone the world will never be able to break again. Step 7. The rebirth of self-belief. Self-belief rarely returns in a dramatic moment. It doesn't come back like a lightning strike or a sudden miracle. Instead, it grows quietly, slowly, gently, like a small seed hidden beneath the soil. At first, you don't notice anything changing. Everything still feels heavy. Everything still feels uncertain. But deep inside, something begins to move. You start to feel tiny sparks of hope. Not big ones, just small flashes that whisper, "Maybe I can try again." You begin doing little things better than before, waking up a bit earlier, focusing a little longer, completing tasks you used to avoid. These improvements seem small, almost unimportant, yet they begin to stack up. And with every little action, your confidence grows by a millimeter. Then something magical begins to happen. You start trusting yourself again, not fully, but enough to continue. Enough to take another step. Enough to push through one more day. And then, one morning, without planning it, without expecting it, you look in the mirror and see someone different. Not the old you who used to be strong, and not the broken version who went through the storm, but the rising version. The version who survived. The version who is learning. The version who is rebuilding from the ground up. This is the moment your comeback becomes unstoppable, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally believe that change is possible. When belief returns, even quietly, your actions begin to shift. You stand straighter, you speak clearer, you walk with intention, you take risks you avoided before. You do things that once felt impossible. Self-belief doesn't shout, it whispers. It tells you, "I can try again." And every time you try, you prove that whisper right. This is rebirth, Not a dramatic transformation, but a steady awakening, a slow reclaiming of your own power. A gentle reminder that somewhere inside you, greatness never died. It simply went silent. Now, it rises again. Step 8. The work in the dark. Every great comeback begins in a place nobody sees. Not on the stage, not on the field, not in the spotlight. It begins in the dark. During the quiet hours when the world is asleep, when no one is clapping, when no one even knows you're trying. You practice when no one is watching. You study when there's no applause waiting for you at the end. You improve silently, step by step. These hours often feel lonely. They feel invisible. Sometimes you wonder if the effort is worth it. Sometimes you doubt whether anyone will notice all the sacrifices you're making. But this hidden work matters more than anything else. These private moments build the version of you that the world will later see. They shape your discipline, your patience, your resilience. The world celebrates results, but results are just the visible tip of an invisible mountain of effort. Slow progress still counts, even if it feels too small to matter. Quiet progress still counts, even if no one praises you for it. Unseen progress still counts, especially when you feel like giving up but continue anyway. The truth is simple. Comebacks are built long before they are recognized, long before the applause, long before the success, long before the respect. The world will only see the highlight moment, but you will know the truth, that the comeback began in darkness, when you chose discipline over comfort, consistency over excuses, growth over fear. And here's the best part. You don't need the world to see your progress yet. You only need to feel it. You only need to know deep inside that you are doing the work that your future self will thank you for. Your comeback isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, daily, quietly, patiently. The world will see your transformation later, but you will feel your transformation now. Step 9. The return of energy. There comes a moment in every comeback when something shifts inside you. It may be subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but it changes everything. You wake up with more clarity than before. Thoughts that felt heavy and tangled suddenly feel organized and manageable. Your mind feels lighter, sharper, as if a fog that once clouded your judgment is slowly lifting. Decisions that once seemed impossible to make now appear clear and reachable. Your body feels stronger, more capable, ready to meet the challenges you once thought too big. And most importantly, your purpose, the driving force that once felt distant, comes into focus again. This is your energy returning. Energy does not arrive simply because you rested. It does not appear out of nowhere or as a gift from luck. Energy comes from movement. It comes from showing up, doing the work, taking one small action after another, even when you are tired or uncertain. Every step you take, every choice you make, every small accomplishment fuels your energy. It builds momentum that compounds quietly, until suddenly you notice that life feels lighter, brighter, and more in your control. As your energy returns, you realize something remarkable. The more you do, the more you are capable of doing. Each action creates confidence. Each step forward strengthens your resolve. Each decision you follow through on proves to yourself that you are moving in the right direction. You no longer fear movement, because movement is your fuel. Growth becomes addictive. Progress becomes inevitable. The desire to rise stronger, to push further, and to build the life you imagined returns with a force that cannot be ignored. This return of energy is more than physical. It is mental. It is emotional. It is spiritual. It is the heartbeat of your comeback, the rhythm that drives every next step, the pulse that reminds you that you are alive, capable, and in control of your story. It is the quiet power that no failure can erase, the unstoppable force that turns small actions into a transformation. When your energy returns, you no longer just survive. You begin to thrive, to rise, and to reclaim everything that once felt lost. Your comeback has found its rhythm, and nothing can stop it now. Step 10. The new identity. A real comeback is not about returning to who you used to be. It is not about reclaiming an old life or restoring an old version of yourself. A true comeback creates something deeper, something stronger, something entirely new. When life breaks you, it also gives you the chance to rebuild differently. When you rise again, you rise as someone transformed. Your new identity grows out of everything you survived. You become the person who endured the pain, who walked through the confusion, who held on when everything inside you wanted to let go. You become the person who rebuilt themselves piece by piece, even when the process felt slow and lonely. You become the person who rose again, not because life magically improved, but because you refused to stay down. And that is something to be proud of. A comeback identity isn't built from ease or comfort. It is built from resilience, from courage, from persistence, from all those mornings you got up even when your heart was tired, from all those nights you kept trying even when your mind told you to quit. Your strength didn't appear suddenly, it grew quietly through every small decision to keep going. And here's the truth. Comeback people rise not because life becomes kinder or easier, but because they become stronger, wiser, and more focused. They stop living for perfection and start living with purpose. They stop asking, "Why me?" and begin asking, "What can I build from this?" Your new identity is not about being flawless. It is about being fearless enough to evolve. It is about refusing to be defined by your lowest moments. It is about choosing transformation over defeat. This identity is your victory. This identity is your proof. This identity is your comeback. Step 11. The breakthrough. Every comeback story has a turning point, a moment when all the silent effort, hidden progress, and quiet discipline finally begin to shine. At first, the progress is invisible. It feels like nothing is working. You wonder if your effort will ever pay off. You question whether you're moving forward at all. But you keep going anyway. You keep doing the work. You keep showing up. And then, almost unexpectedly, something finally opens. You get the job that once felt impossible. You pass the test you thought you would fail. Your health begins to improve in ways you can finally feel. Your relationships grow healthier, deeper, more honest. Your skills sharpen, your voice becomes clearer, and your confidence blooms again. One small win leads to another, and suddenly your life begins shifting in ways you once only hoped for. But the breakthrough itself is not the real victory. The real victory is that you stayed long enough to receive it. You didn't abandon yourself. You didn't stop during the slow stages. You didn't let doubt win. You continued when it was boring, painful, and quiet. You kept moving even when progress was invisible. Breakthroughs always arrive later than you want, but exactly when you are ready. They show up when your mindset is stronger, when your identity has shifted, when your discipline has matured. They come at the moment when quitting is easiest, but continuing is transformational. Your breakthrough is proof that persistence works. It is proof that small steps matter. It is proof that you are capable of far more than you once believed. And this time, the win feels different, because you earned every piece of it. Step 12. The world reacts. When your comeback finally becomes visible, the world around you begins to respond. People notice the way you've changed, the way you carry yourself, the way your life is shifting. But not everyone reacts the same way, and that's okay. Some people cheer for you. They smile at your success, celebrate your growth, and feel genuinely happy that you rose again. These people understand the value of your journey, even if they don't know every detail. Their support feels warm, uplifting, and real. Some people stay silent. They see your progress but don't comment. They may not know what to say, or they may be processing their own emotions. Silence doesn't mean judgment. Silence often means they're watching, learning, or adjusting to the new version of you. And some people get jealous or uncomfortable. Your growth reminds them of the work they haven't done. Your progress triggers the fears they haven't faced. Your strength highlights the excuses they continue to use. Their reaction has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own unresolved battles. This is natural. This is normal. This is part of rising. But here's what you must remember. Your comeback was never meant to impress people. It was not built to earn validation or approval. It was built to heal you, strengthen you, and transform you. The world's reaction, whether positive, neutral, or negative, does not define your rise. Your journey defines it. Your persistence defines it. Your courage defines it. The greatest comebacks are personal victories first and public victories second. What matters most is the strength you gained, the identity you built, and the version of yourself you became along the way. Their reactions do not determine your worth. Your comeback is yours, and that is enough. Step 13. The comeback. Mindset. A true comeback is never a single moment. It is not a one-time act of courage or a sudden burst of effort. A comeback is a way of living. It is a mindset, a consistent approach to life that shapes how you respond to challenges, setbacks, and failures. Once you embrace this mindset, rising after defeat becomes natural, almost instinctive. You stop fearing failure because you understand that falling is part of the process, and getting back up is the skill that defines you. This mindset teaches you to rise faster than before. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes feedback. You learn to respond to obstacles with clarity instead of panic, to approach difficulties with creativity instead of fear, and to move forward even when circumstances seem impossible. Life will always throw challenges your way, but the comeback mindset equips you to face them with courage, patience, and determination. You don't just survive, you grow through every challenge. You learn to handle pressure with poise. The world will test you relentlessly. Deadlines, responsibilities, expectations, and unexpected crises will come at you from every direction. But a comeback mindset transforms pressure into fuel. It teaches you to stay calm, think clearly, and act decisively even when everything feels overwhelming. You stop seeing stress as a threat and start seeing it as an opportunity to prove your strength, sharpen your skills, and stretch beyond your comfort zone. You learn to trust yourself again. Doubts, fears, and past failures may try to creep in, but this mindset reinforces the belief that you are capable, resilient, and resourceful. You stop looking for permission from others. You stop waiting for validation. You start relying on your own judgment and intuition, knowing that the person who has survived everything in the past is fully equipped to handle what comes next. Most importantly, the comeback mindset transforms how you perceive life itself. Obstacles become opportunities. Failures become lessons. Pain becomes power. Challenges are no longer walls that stop you. They are the tools that shape you. Every experience, good or bad, contributes to the strength, wisdom, and resilience you are building. This mindset is not temporary. It is your foundation. It is the invisible force behind every small step, every late-night effort, every quiet decision to keep going. The comeback mindset does not just help you rise once. It ensures that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will always rise again. And that is the true essence of a greatest comeback.